What is going on? Lego Man 123 back with another video, and welcome to the top 10 video, where today in this episode I'll be counting down my top 10 most shocking Avatar The Last Airbender moments. So without further ado, let's get into it. At number 10, we have Zhao destroys the moon. Now he does this because he learns in a library that if you destroy the moon spirit, then the waterbenders actually lose their sort of water powers or like elemental ability. So he was very ambitious to actually complete that. And I thought it was very shocking that he would actually kill a spirit to actually fulfill this sort of, not destiny, but like ambition he does have. At first, he's like biased towards it. He doesn't want to do it because like Iroh tells him don't do it, you won't just affect the waterbenders, you'll affect everyone, and Aang does back Iroh up for that, which I think is definitely reasonable because everyone does need the moon, not just like the waterbenders. And then like he puts it back in there, but then he shoots fire at it, and then he does destroy the moon spirit. So that was definitely really shocking to actually see this, because I thought he was just going to put it back there and like say, yeah, you guys are probably right, it would affect everyone, but he's very ambitious towards this and he does complete that goal. At number 9, we have Jet's plan. In this episode, we learned that Jet and a few of like the freedom fighters are actually like taking out some of the firebenders who are like destroying like villages and all that, which I think is definitely reasonable because him and his freedom fighters are actually protecting people who can't protect themselves. But then as the episode goes on, we actually learn that to complete this sort of goal he has to actually take out innocent people's lives, which I thought was definitely really shocking because he seemed like a really nice guy trying to do the right thing, but then to actually do the right thing, he was actually doing some really bad stuff. So that was definitely really shocking to actually see that. And we also learned that he also does hurt like innocent firebenders as well. Like he hurt this old man, like he stole his stuff and all that, which was quite shocking to actually see. But Jet's plan was a lot more shocking, just hurting like a whole village of innocent people. At number 8, we have Azula and Ozai, and this was in part 1 of the final 4 episodes of Avatar The Last Airbender. And this is when Azula and Ozai were about to go to Ba Sing Se to like destroy all the environment and all that. And they have this very small moment where like Ozai snaps at Azula and she has this really sort of sad look, and I begin to like feel that she's starting to sort of twist a bit because she actually has fear from her father now, because she always thought that she was her father's favorite child, which she was, but then after this moment I feel like she began to like sort of twist a bit and feel like that my father doesn't really care about me anymore, like he doesn't need me after this. So that was definitely really shocking to actually see this very quick moment, and like Ozai does snap at his daughter, and that never does happen in the episodes throughout seasons 2 and 3, so to actually see this quick moment was definitely really shocking to see that he actually did snap at his daughter Azula, and like the facial expression she does give, like she's starting to like sort of lose hope in him and all that, like he won't be able to defeat the Avatar, and like she's beginning to sort of twist and not really trust her father anymore, which was definitely quite shocking to actually see that. At number 7, we have the brainwashing facility in Ba Sing Se, and we learn this in an episode I believe called Secrets of the Walls, or like Secrets Behind the Walls, I believe, not 100% sure, but it was definitely really interesting to see this because we learned that there's this whole sort of brainwashing facility underground of Ba Sing Se, and it is run by Long Feng, like the advisor of the Earth King. Not even the Earth King or like most Ba Sing Se people actually know this. Only the Dai Li agents and then like Long Feng actually know what's going on. So it's definitely really interesting to actually see this whole sort of process, how they brainwash people into like thinking there's no war in Ba Sing Se, which there actually was. So it's definitely quite interesting to see this whole sort of brainwashing facility, and not a lot of people actually know what's going on underground. And the people who do find out are Team Avatar, and then they do advise the Earth King, but then like the Dai Li agents and like Long Feng actually do block it off, so then they can't actually get back under there with like the Earth King, which is definitely a really good strategy because they want to keep this like secret and safe as possible, so then nothing bad actually does happen to this whole sort of process. And number 6, we have the blue spirit, and this happened in an episode where Aang got captured by Zhao, and he was held prisoner, but then the blue spirit does come and actually save him. I really did enjoy the battle the blue spirit and Aang actually had. I thought it was really interesting to actually see this, but the most shocking part was that the blue spirit was none other than Prince Zuko, which was definitely really shocking to see this, because Zuko actually rescued Aang, the person he's been trying to hunt for the last couple of episodes, and to actually see him rescue him was definitely really shocking, but I thought it was definitely really cool to actually see that it was Prince Zuko who was the blue spirit, because he actually did it so then he could actually bring Aang to his father himself instead of Zhao bringing it. So I thought it was definitely really interesting and quite shocking to see that Prince Zuko, the person who's been trying to hunt the Avatar for the last couple of episodes, actually saved Aang. And then the sort of facial expression of Aang when he actually realizes it is Zuko is actually really cool to actually see, because he's shocked as well and genuinely surprised to see that it was actually him, the person who's been hunting him for the last couple of episodes, who actually did save him. So definitely really shocking. And number 5, we have the metamorphosis, and this happened to Zuko after he actually did something good, and that was saving Appa, and he goes through this whole sort of metamorphosis thing, and I thought it was definitely really shocking to actually see a character go through this whole sort of metamorphosis stage, and I'm really glad it was Zuko, because he has this whole conflict with his body, because he only mostly knows anger and sort of badness, but then actually saving up are sort of turned on his sort of good side, so he's having this whole sort of metamorphosis with his good and bad side, which I thought was definitely really shocking to actually see this. And I like how it just wasn't a quick thing, say 3-second thing. It was quite a while, which I really did enjoy, him struggling to cope with the good and the bad side, fighting with one another. So definitely really shocking to actually see Prince Zuko actually go through this, and I really liked how Iroh was there every step of the way, supporting him, helping him. I thought it was definitely really nice how Iroh actually did that. And number 4, we have Aang burns Katara, and this happened in an episode in, I believe, season 1, or some of the first episodes in season 2, and Aang was beginning to learn the very minimum sort of skills to doing firebending, which I thought was definitely really interesting, and he's doing a few tricks with it, but then he does get out of control, and he has this sort of spread of fire, and it slowly does move over to Katara. She puts her hands out, and it actually does burn her. Now that was definitely really shocking to actually see that Aang accidentally burn her, and I really liked how Aang didn't be all sort of, are you okay and all that, do you want my help? He was actually genuinely shocked and quite upset that he actually did that, which I thought was definitely really nice. And then Sokka does come over and sort of body slam Aang into the ground, which I think is definitely reasonable, because he just burned his sister's sort of hand. So I thought that was definitely quite sort of uplifting to actually see that he's sort of standing up for his sister. But it was definitely quite shocking to actually see that Aang would do that. But it was definitely by accident, and I really liked how Katara didn't hold a grudge on Aang for actually doing that, because she does do some water healing with her hands, and the burns are all gone. But I really did like how it was just a one-off thing, and Katara didn't just have this whole grudge on him for the whole entire series. And what I really liked was that Aang didn't want to learn firebending or do firebending ever again after what he actually did to Katara, which I think is definitely reasonable, and I think it's definitely sort of a good idea for Aang to actually not do that, because he's actually keeping a promise to himself, and he doesn't want to hurt any other people do a firebending. And number 3, we have that Zuko learned the truth about his mother, and this is when he confronted his father on the day of the Black Sun, when no firebenders have their power. And I thought it was definitely really sort of shocking that he actually did approach his father like this, with his sort of double swords, and while the Black Sun was happening, they had this whole sort of conversation, Zuko was going to join the Avatar after this. But then as he's like beginning to walk out, he actually does, well, Ozai brings up his mother, and he does stop, which I thought was definitely really shocking because we're getting to know more about his mother, and like hearing that she might possibly be alive still was definitely really shocking to actually see that. And I really like how Ozai really didn't care about it, but then Zuko actually really did care, and he definitely wants to be reconnected with his mother. So I thought it was definitely quite shocking that Ozai would actually bring up such a serious topic to Zuko, and possibly saying like your mum might be dead, or like she might be possibly alive. So I thought it was definitely really interesting how he actually brought up this topic while on Day of the Black Sun. And number 2, we have Avatar's defeat. And this happened in the final episode of Season 2 when Katara and Aang were versing Azula, Zuko, and some of the Dai Li agents. And the only way for them to win was if Aang went into the Avatar state. And to do this, he had to unlock his final, I believe, chakra, which was to like let go of the ones you love, which I think is definitely a really serious topic. And when Aang was unlocking the other 6, I believe, he didn't want to unlock the one because he didn't want to forget like Katara and all that, which I think was definitely reasonable because I really did like the connection they did have. But the only way to actually sort of save the day and get out of there safely was if he went into the sort of Avatar state by unlocking the final chakra. And I really liked how he went into like this sort of a crystal sort of part where like he could quickly go into the Avatar state. And he did say sorry, Katara, because he had to actually let go of the sort of connection he did have with her so he could go into the Avatar state. And as he's like flying in the air, Azula does shoot Aang, which I thought was definitely really shocking because we learned that in a couple of episodes ago. We learned that if you're in the Avatar state, you might be at your most powerful sort of state, but then you're also at your most vulnerable, because if you get killed in the Avatar state, then the saga can not continue. So if Aang died in the Avatar state, then there'd be no like Legend of Korra or stuff after that, which is definitely really shocking to actually know that. And then Aang, I believe, was like sort of killed, but then Katara does heal him with like her sort of special water ability, with like the sort of special water she did get from the Northern Water Tribe. So it was definitely really shocking to actually see Aang get shot while in the Avatar state. And then like it did cut to like Katara crying, which I thought was definitely shocking. And then it was definitely shocking to actually see that Aang might actually die and there'd be no like season 3 or anything. So that was definitely quite shocking. But then Katara does heal him, which I thought was definitely a nice moment. And finally, at number 1, we have Zuko's great-grandfather on his mother's side. And this is when Zuko decides to read up on like his sort of family history. So he goes to like this sort of library place to actually learn about that. And I thought it was definitely really interesting how he went and like read up on his family history. But I believe only his father's side of the family was there, because I have this theory that when Ursa left, Zuko and Azula's mother left, like ran away, Ozai decided to actually like burn all evidence of her sort of family tree and all that, so then no one would actually learn about it. So I thought that was definitely really shocking to actually sort of come up with that theory, but I'm not 100% sure on if that is actually possible. And then Zuko does confront his uncle Iroh, and like he has this whole sort of argument with him, like saying it's already the history people know. And then Iroh says like a few words, and then he says that your great grandfather on your mother's side is Avatar Roku, which was definitely really, really shocking to know this, because with the whole sort of metamorphosis thing, it wasn't just because he helped Appa sort of get out of Ba Sing Se and like come with Aang and all that. It was actually because he was fighting the good and the bad side, so Sozin and then Roku. Like, I thought that was definitely really interesting and very shocking to actually learn that he is related to Avatar Roku. And I really liked how like his whole reaction. He was quite shocked as well as I while watching this scene, and like he was quite upset to actually learn this, because he discovered that his family isn't all bad, because like Sozin was bad, Ozai, Azula, and he was like sort of a genuine sort of good and bad ones who was like in the middle. But then Iroh was like on the good side, but I reckon he's on the good side. And then just learning about Avatar Roku, it actually does sort of split Zuko's sort of personality, because he's always sort of been bad in like seasons sort of 1 and then a bit of season 2, and then to actually learn that he can actually change because he has a bit of good in him was definitely really interesting to actually know, and once again very shocking to actually learn that he is related to Avatar Roku. So, hope you guys did enjoy this episode as much as I did making it, because I really did enjoy sharing my thoughts and opinions on my top 10 most shocking Avatar The Last Airbender moments. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below, and if you have your own most shocking Avatar The Last Airbender moments, I would definitely love to hear it down in the comments below. So, as always guys, hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I can see you soon. Goodbye!